I'm going to talk about the scope of project management on design projects. And Tobias really stole my thunder on the first page, pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover, except for a little fun fact about me is that every winter I dress up as Frosty the Snowman in our local town, and it's actually quite a lot of fun. Cub Scouts come out, Girl Scouts come out, and everyone has a really good time. But one thing that I do like about doing project management here is, as Tobias said, I get to work on a lot of different projects, large and small, in a whole bunch of different industries. But when I say I work on projects, I don't interview users, I don't create prototypes, I definitely don't know how to use Photoshop, and I definitely don't touch any code. I really don't even have what you would think of as a deliverable on a project. And you may nod your head, you may work with project managers, your project manager takes good notes, they talk to the client, they work on a project plan, and maybe they chase you around for your time entry. I know I do. But all those things are really the administrative side of project management. They're a part of it, but it's not really the point of being a project manager. Really the point of having a project manager on your project is to ensure that your projects are being executed in a way that meets the goals, timing, and resource constraints of your organization. In our company, oh, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. All right, here we go. In our company, project management has to be on every single project because when you have a project without project management, usually an internal project, chances are the project manager is going to get involved eventually because projects that do have a project manager on them are going to be more successful in the end. One key challenge that I have to deal with is dealing with 3 conflicting groups and all with different needs. And that's clients, team members, and our company, Infragistics. Each of these groups has conflicting needs, and for a project to be successful, they all have to be put in alignment. This picture is from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and in the movie, Sir Robin comes across the three-headed knight, and the three-headed knight wants to stop in his tracks, but keeps arguing with himself, and each head cannot agree what to do with Sir Robin, so eventually Sir Robin's able to escape. And for me, sometimes that's the way it feels. You have 3 competing needs, 3 different groups, and you have to take all the variables and make a sound decision. So I'll give you a real-world example. We recently had a project where our company had agreed to a statement of work with a certain client, but as soon as we got started, the client was really slow to give us the information we needed, and the project quickly stalled. The team was frustrated, the client was frustrated, and our company was frustrated because we weren't able to bill for the work that we've been doing yet. And you really needed a project manager to step in and understand the different needs of each of these groups. And what we were able to do is come up with a compromise where we made some changes on the project, we adjusted the scope, we adjusted the team, and we were able to get the project back on track so everyone can move forward in a positive way. And the project is ongoing now and is actually pretty successful. So on a particular project, as a project manager, I have a bunch of different roles. To the team, to the client, and to management at Infragistics. Some of these are positive. I'm a leader, problem solver, team builder, but they can also be negative. Administrator, nag, the man, and one person in particular likes to call me their babysitter, but sometimes that's what you have to do. We also have management. And management wants an accurate forecast of revenue and resourcing needs, and they want to know how much money we're going to make, when we're going to make it, and they really want me to be more accurate than the weatherman. So, again, I think I mentioned no Photoshop skills here, right? But with all these different roles, a project manager has to be quick to adapt to change. And this is a quote I really like, and I think it applies to project management, but every project has hundreds of variables. All of them can change at any given moment. And I'm not talking about project scope. That's easier to deal with. You have a scope statement and SOW. But what I'm really talking about are the everyday issues that come up that I have to deal with. Things like scheduling. When I have many meetings in a row and suddenly a client cancels. Or when we have unforeseen technical delays. Or when there's a critical deadline, but our client can't meet with us, but the work has to continue. There's even little issues like when you walk into a meeting room and your phone's disconnected and it has to be reset and everyone's waiting on the line and you have to figure out what to do. So sometimes you have to take the punch you have to adapt, you have to make a new plan, knowing fully well that when you get back up, you're going to take another punch and you're going to have to adapt again. But that's okay, because you assume things are going to go wrong. You plan to minimize the impact, and you move forward. So some of the things I do in real life, when a client's prone to canceling, I might actually schedule a backup meeting. So if they cancel on me Tuesday evening, we have a Wednesday morning meeting ready to go. When clients want a very specific report that nobody else uses, but I'll spend the time working with them and invest the time and effort to give them exactly what they need. And sometimes when that phone happens to be disconnected when I go into the room and everyone's waiting, I usually have a series of backup options so that the meeting can go on with minimal interruption. But everything I've talked about up to this point, being adaptive, flexible, that's really the basics of project management. It's not, as I mentioned, not the point of being a project manager. It's more than administration, it's more than planning. A true project manager should be influencing the success of the end product. How do we do that? Well, we have a view of the project that nobody else has. Nobody on the team is interacting with the client on as regular basis as the project manager. For example, here, we'll start off a project where everyone's in the room together. Our UX architect, designer, developer, we all kick off with the client. But as soon as we get through that kickoff meeting, the developer, maybe the designer goes away while the UX architect will spend weeks or months with that client. And then eventually they'll finish up their work, the designer will come in, they'll do their work, and they'll take a step back, and the developer will come in, and development can take weeks or months as well. But all these people are coming in and out of the project, where the project manager is the only person that's there the entire time. By being present for the whole project, I'm able to build a strong relationship with my clients. I'm able to provide a level of oversight to our project team that nobody else can. And I'm able to see the trends in the day-to-day details. I can provide guidance to our clients and to the project team members. So we are in a unique position, and sometimes it does feel like being between a rock and a hard place between your clients and your team. But a project manager can leverage that so we can make our project successful. I'm able to see all the different angles and make decisions that'll have the best outcome for both sides. But as a client advocate to the team, I'm able to put myself in my client's shoes. I understand what my clients are looking for as an output, and I can relay that back to our team. I understand their level of tolerance on certain variables. I can push our team to iterate on a design or remind them to account for a specific use case or business requirement. Conversely, as a team advocate to the client, I have to speak up for our project team members. It's my job to make sure our team can do their jobs without people getting in the way too much. Sometimes clients want to know every little detail, and they'll ask our team members for reports on what they're doing in such a way that our team members get frustrated and they spend more time creating reports about what they're doing than actually doing the work they need to be doing. So I have to set an expectation with our clients that I control the flow of information, and that I'll give them all the information they need, but they have to go through me. Eventually, the goal is for project managers to become strategic partners. Now, if you Google strategic partner, you get a lot of images with people shaking hands and puzzle pieces and this great image of these fish jumping out of this person's head. I don't know, I love it, so we're going to go with it. But the goal is to go from those words I used earlier, like nag, to strategic partner and trusted advisor. One way I do that is, after every meeting we have with our clients, I like to sit down and have an honest, open debrief meeting with them. We talk about what worked well, what didn't work well, what challenges we had on the project. And this accomplishes two goals, because the first goal, very important, is we get instant feedback on how we did. How was the project go for them? How was our team? Did the deliverables meet their expectations? Were they valuable? How was the management? How did I do? Did they have the information they needed? Were their expectations set properly up front? Did they get what our salesperson promised they would be getting? And what I can do is, after that meeting, I take all that information and we have a debrief with our management here, and we take what we've learned and we apply it to the next project. The second goal of that meeting is I get to better understand what our clients' bigger picture goals are. We understand what they're looking for, what's going to make them successful, what they're trying to do in their lives, in their businesses. And sometimes this is just a friendly conversation. Sometimes it leads to additional work for us, but that's not really the intent. The intent is to have a human-to-human relationship and understand what's going to make them successful and see where we can help. And at the end of this meeting, usually clients feel appreciated. They feel like their thoughts are being heard, and they really like the fact that they might be able to impact our project process and help us get better in the future. So why should you have a project manager? Well, project managers, and sometimes projects, I don't know if anyone has project managers on their projects, but a lot of times projects don't have a dedicated project manager. And if you do have one on your project, it's going to be there's a much higher chance that it's going to be successful than without. First reason is we really impact the deliverables on the project. And I told you I don't have a deliverable, but I impact them because my project team is developers, designers, and they're really focused on the work that they have to do. But sometimes they need an outside perspective. I have more of the business-oriented perspective to give them. I'm thinking what the client's thinking. I'm thinking about things in a different way that our team may not be realizing. I also do quality reviews to make sure that the deliverables we're putting out of this company are of the same level as all of the other ones. I make sure that there's a level of standard quality that everyone can expect. And really importantly is the effectiveness and impact that our deliverables are having for our clients, because often they're spending a lot of money with us, and it's my goal to make sure that the investment in their project is worth it and that they're getting what they wanted to get out of this project. Ultimately, a happy client makes for a better project. Other things project managers do, maybe obvious, maybe not, but we manage risks. We get to identify areas of concern that are small problems before they turn into big problems and expensive problems. I'm the point person, the person that our clients call when someone needs more information or when something doesn't really feel right or when they just need to talk through an idea. I really provide peace of mind that this big investment in a project, that someone's looking over it, and that's me. I also allow our project team to do their jobs without getting bogged down in management activities. If you don't have a project manager on your project, chances are someone is still doing the administrative side of the job. Someone is still keeping time and providing updates to people. And a developer's job is to develop for our customers. It's not to do that administrative side of things. So leave the designing to the designers and let the project manager handle the management. Everything will be more effective that way. Now this you may have seen before. It's really key though, because communication is the #1 reason that a project will fail, poor communication. So all the way on the left you have, this is how the customer explains their need, then how the project leader understands it, how the analyst designs it, how the programmer wrote it, how the business analyst described it, of course, what actually was developed, and what the customer really needed, which is a simple tire swing. And what I found is that everyone communicates in a different way, and everyone, the same message across different, a simple tire swing, everyone can understand that differently. So what I found is when communication is not done properly, the project's going to be at risk. As a project manager, I communicate with our team, I communicate with our client, I communicate with our business stakeholders, all in different ways. Sometimes we have a more technical client that can sit down with our developers and understand everything that's going on, and that's great. But oftentimes our clients are higher level people in the organization. They don't quite understand all the technical details, nor do they want to know all the technical details. So I have to take that same message and decode it for these other people in a way that is going to be meaningful and impactful to them. Another key aspect that a project manager has to do with communication is helping the clients communicate with themselves. Just this week, I was in a meeting with a client, and we weren't getting clear requirements. The one stakeholder was disagreeing with the other stakeholder, and we couldn't make any progress in the meeting. So I sort of stopped the meeting, and we brought some other people in, and I facilitated a communication, a conversation with them, and we sorted out what they wanted and what they didn't want. And they disagreed with each other, but openly, and we had that conversation, and it took a while, but by the end of the meeting, everyone was on the same page, and my team was able to get clear requirements so we could all move forward and keep the project going. Project managers also have a line of sight across the project we're working on, the next project, the other project going on. So I understand what the impact is when a deliverable is going to be late or when a client has a change request. And how does that situation impact the next project or the one after? And finally, this quote from Walt Disney really speaks to me, and he says, "Of all the things I've done, the most vital is coordinating those who work with me and aiming their efforts at a certain goal." And really, that's the essence of project management. I need to take the team that I have here and our client's team and orient their goals and make sure that everyone is working towards the same thing so the project can be successful. Thank you.